It's been flooding pretty bad here in Ireland for the past couple of days. When it's pouring outside, there's nothing better than to sit in with a big stack of comic books and some Maltesers, which is exactly what I did yesterday. This is week 1 and 2 kind of combined because it's just easier that way. First one I'm going to start with this week is Guardians of the Galaxy #1. So it's the Guardians that we know and love, but with a few slight changes. Peter Quill is now King of Spartax. That happened. And Kitty Pryde has taken over his role as Star-Lord. In case you didn't know, Kitty Pryde is his fiance, and yeah, this really brings a new meaning to the whole sharing everything part of marriage. She's taken over as leader of the Guardians, and a new member is also the Thing, formerly of the Fantastic Four, as well as Flash Thompson, otherwise known as Venom. They're fighting bad guys together, and they come across this weird alien rock looking thing, or as Drax puts it, cosmic artifacts of immeasurable cosmic import. God, I love Drax. So they want to test it out to see what's going on, but they don't want to do it on the ship because, you know, the whole thing could go boom. They end up visiting Spartax because they think, okay, well, Peter can help us, right? Yeah, Peter's not enjoying his new role. He's super bored and he has a lot of responsibilities that he never had in the past, and he's kind of having a bit of trouble dealing with it all. And also, by the end of the comic, he gets cornered by this pink alien chick who wants to procreate with him. So that was nice. And of course, Kitty saw it. So he's gonna get a bit of an earwagon. There's nothing special about this new story. It's kind of just obviously introducing the new members of the team. And I'm actually kind of, I got a wee bit warm and fuzzy when I saw the Thing and his inner dialogue about how much he feels like he belongs here, which was kind of nice because obviously he's always had a bit of an issue being around the other members of Fantastic Four because they look so normal and he looks, well, he's a big orange rock. So I'll definitely be looking at issue 2 because it seems to be pretty promising and it has that typical Guardians kind of humour and stuff with it. So yeah, great for a rainy day. Next up we're talking about Chrononauts. Now if you saw my Z-Box unboxing, which I think was uploaded a few days ago, you'll know that I got Chrononauts as a graphic novel in the box. I was really excited about reading it because it seemed like right up my alley. I sat down straight away and started reading it, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But it was still pretty good. Basically, it's about these two doctors, Dr. Quinn and Dr. Riley, and they are geniuses. They figured out time travel. So Dr. Quinn, he kind of just let his life with his wife go by the wayside, and this is what he focused on the whole time. And he's finally achieved this. This is the pinnacle of his career. And he's just kind of sad before he goes because his wife Rachel, you know, she moved on with another man, and he's kind of like, okay, well, no one's here to say goodbye to me on this big journey. He was definitely kind of having not second thoughts, but a lot of regret about the actions he took in his past. I was really surprised with the first twist, and I gotta say that was unexpected. Unfortunately, after the first twist, it's really easy to predict what the end point is going to be. It wasn't a particularly good read, but it was a fun read. Loved the art. The art was by Sean Murphy, and I'm gonna have to check out more of his stuff because I really enjoyed it. It's not a book that I would read again in a hurry. It was very fluffy. There's nothing really substantial to it, and a touch predictable, but yeah, no, it's fine. So if you got November Z-Box as well and you've read Chrononauts, then please let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Next up is Kanan, the Last Padawan #1. I have been searching for #1 of this comic series for ages. I don't like ordering my comics online. I like to go into the store, pick it out, bring it home with me. It's just not the same getting them delivered. But anyway, that's just me being a giant baby. But anyway, so I finally found #1. It has a sketch cover on it as well, and it got destroyed. I left it under one of, I think it was actually Guardians of the Galaxy that I left it under, and the blue background of it stuck to the white sketch cover, so now it looks like hell. I will end up buying another one. I'll probably buy a variant edition or something like that. But look at the state of it. I don't know if you can see it properly, but look, there's little bits everywhere. I don't know what's wrong with me lately. I've been like bringing my comics on the bus and stuff whenever I'm traveling around everywhere. I don't know if I need to bring like a metal case of them or something, but they end up getting like squashed and like quarters, and I just need to respect them more. So it's about this guy called Caleb. He is a little kid and he's basically learning how to be a Jedi under his master Deepa Billaba. Deepa is actually, she's one of my favorite Jedi masters of all time. I think she's so good. I wish she had like a series of her own. She's one of those really kind of like pensive, she's kind of like Yoda but a girl, and she's not green. It's a really good story. I don't want to give away too much. It's so hard talking about comics and like not wanting to spoil them, but just at the same time wanting to scream about them and be just like, yes, this is so good and here's why. Caleb eventually becomes this guy called Kanan Janus, and the comic starts with him as his adult form, and he's like dealing with a few issues, and he's constantly having like flashbacks to whenever he was training under Deepa. So ultimately it's a really good comic to go for. Super easy read, and it has a great ending as well, so you're gonna wanna check this out. Next up is, and I think I've actually included this comic in every Comicphiles since the beginning. But anyway, so I recently read number 4 and 5 of Star Wars Princess Leia. I know I'm featuring Star Wars comics a lot, but it's the journey to the Force Awakens, guys. Can't help it. Can't get enough of Star Wars Princess Leia. It's such a good series. The colouring is just stunning. That's Jordi Belair all over. Leia discovers that there's a big group of surviving Alderaans living underground, so she seeks them out to try and protect them. So I think she walks in there kind of thinking, okay, this is going to be great. These are my fellow Alderaans. Everything's going to be awesome. But no, it's not. She's kind of thought of as an imposter. A little bit like a traitor, and yeah, so it doesn't go that well. Leia being Leia, she convinces them around to her way of thinking after a teensy tiny fight, and Ivan is just such a great help. She's kind of like R2-D2 but in human form, with a little less beeping and booping. She trusts 2 of her new companions to try and seek out some allies, and they don't do a very good job of it. Number 5 is so good. I mean, I enjoyed number 4, but 5 was just new level of awesome. It had great themes about race and what it means to be part of a culture, and it has one of the best speeches about culture that I think I've read in any comic book ever. The whole thing about being a princess and having all these titles and people bound to her, none of it matters to her at all. All she cares about is preserving her culture, and she realizes the sacrifices that she has to make to do that. She makes a decision that I was really surprised by, but I'm kind of glad she did it. If you haven't been reading Star Wars Princess Leia, you need to read it. Next up is Beauty number 3. Now, I got a gorgeous variant edition of this because it was actually my mom who got it for me, which seems kind of weird because it is a comic about an STD that makes you beautiful. But anyway, she doesn't know what it's about, so it's okay. So she picked it up for me because I asked her to. It's number 3 in the series, and I've loved this from the get-go. It's a really interesting concept, and the art and the story is just really good. The story was a little bit slow in this one. It was harder to pay attention than usual. Generally there's something like really snappy going on, or something in particular that's really important. And that kind of came through by the end of the comic, but you kind of have to go through a lot of what seems like needless dialogue to get there. Ultimately, yeah, it's another strong issue in the series, and definitely going to keep up for number 4. House of M number 2. So just to give a brief overview about the House of M series, it's set in Battle World, which is part of Secret Wars, which I know is pretty much over. But anyway, it's a great chance now to go over the branches from the main arc and like really catch up. So that's what I've been doing with a few different series. So I started Battle World Marvel Zombies number 1 last week, and that was so good, and I wish I started it sooner. So don't write off any comics just because it's part of Secret Wars and that's pretty much over now, because there's still some really great series that I think, because there were so many, they didn't get the recognition that they deserved. So House of M is one of these. Basically, mutants are the tippy top of society, and humans, even if they had special powers in the past, even if they were considered superheroes in the old world, it doesn't matter because they're humans, they're not mutants, they're the bottom of the barrel. That's it. Part of the royal family do not agree with this whole, you know, mutants are better than humans thing, and that causes a lot of issues. This series is really good. It did start getting a little bit cheesy and gimmicky near the end. I was kind of sickened because I was like, oh, it was going so well. I'm still going to give issue 3 another chance because I want to see what happens, but I hope it doesn't continue on the line of, you know, the way in the past X-Men had like really kind of silly plot lines. Hopefully it doesn't like disintegrate into that because it has a lot of potential. Lastly is a comic called Mythic. I actually got this ages and ages ago at a comic festival in Derry, and it just got lost among the stacks. It's by Phil Hester and John McCrae. I knew kind of what genre it was going to be, but I didn't want to like look into it too much because I kind of like being surprised with these kind of comic books. It definitely wasn't what I expected at all. It's about this group Mythic, and it's kind of like, okay, when magic gets messy, they clean it up, and I found this first issue was really strong. It introduced really great characters straight away and still left me really wanting more by the end of it. It had a really interesting kind of concept in it as well, that magic makes the world go round and science is just the primitive way of thinking. It almost seemed to end too soon, but I suppose that's just the mark of a good comic, isn't it? It was actually released in May 2015, so this has been out for ages, which is good for me because I'll be able to buy all of the issues at once and just have a big binge fest. So that's what I've been reading for the past 2 weeks. Let me know what you've been reading in the comments below. I know I mentioned in the last video that I was going for Marvel .1, but I just straight up haven't been motivated into getting issue 2, so that kind of speaks for itself. I probably will end up picking it up just to see what happens, or I could just Wikipedia everything, I don't know. We'll see. I'm Mary and you've been watching The Arcade. I don't game that much. This will probably be super useful whenever I'm writing articles at 3 o'clock in the morning.